that Ukraine has given to Russia a list of 400 children to be returned, 400 kidnapped children. Russia, of course, mocked the demand and said that maybe it would be ready to discuss returning 10 children, and also added that Ukraine should not try to, what did they say? The virtuous signal to a bunch of old European women that cannot have children of their own. And the topic of children, of course, has been a topic that became my main work topic. When it comes to my trips to Ukraine, I have been conducting interviews with the organization that saves children. I'll be doing some more interviews around children tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. And so I feel like this, and the day after that. And so I feel like this topic is pretty close to my line of work. And then recently, there's been a new development when it comes to the topic of kidnapped children. And it's definitely not a good development. Vladimir Putin has proposed very brazenly, very shamelessly, that an exchange that would go like this. Hey, you remember those kids that we've kidnapped? Yeah, so if you give us soldiers, if you give us prisoners of war, in exchange, we will give you kids, which is a blatant disregard of rules of war, international law, anything you can think of, okay? Anything you can think of, this blatantly breaks it, okay? Like, how can you even entertain such an exchange? How can you even propose something like that? Yeah, we kidnapped a bunch of children from this country to Russify them, but maybe if you want them back, then give us the prisoners of war. And I don't even know what to say to that. Of course, Ukraine refused. Of course, Zelensky said, yeah, children need to be returned, not exchanged for prisoners of war. And I 100% agree with this sentiment. That is such a ridiculous. What do you say to that? Like, I think I'm even gonna work it into my interviews moving forward, to be blunt. Like, when I'm gonna talk to specialists, when I'm gonna talk to workers, I'm gonna ask them, hey, what do you think about the fact that Vladimir Putin wants to exchange kidnapped children for prisoners of war? I'm curious about what sort of answers I will get. It's just crazy. It's a crazy, crazy topic. And of course, there's been a response from many places, among them the UN. I've already told you what the very obvious response from Volodymyr Zelensky was. Also, John the Brazen, consider not being white. I think criticism should be the least of the things. I think at this point, things should go a little bit beyond just criticism. Moscow acknowledges, oh yeah, by the way, just so you know, by proposing that, I think that is a thing that is worth saying. There's a thing about this that is worth just stating out loud. The fact that in Istanbul said we can return 10 children, the fact that Russia is proposing exchanging children for prisoners of war is a blatant admittance to kidnapping of children, in my mind. Even though earlier they would say, oh no, we're just saving those children from war zones, we're just taking care of them, we're taking them in to keep them safe from war. No, I'm sorry, once you enter the conversation with, we're gonna give you children in exchange for prisoners of war, it is an admittance that the children have been kidnapped. That I think that's very important to point out. Moscow acknowledges holding Ukrainian children while proposing to exchange them for Russian prisoners of war, prompting UN condemnation of using civilians as bargaining chips in violation of international humanitarian law. I mean, Russia doesn't care about condemnation. Russia cares about more concrete action. So condemnation is not going to do jack. It's like a meaningless gesture. I mean, it's good that it's being somehow recognized. It's good that it's somehow being criticized, but it's not going to lead to anything, which is my big, even though nothing will sort of follow behind these condemnations. The United Nations condemned Russia's proposal, blah, blah, blah. We already know this. Obviously, all innocent civilians, including innocent children, should not be... Oh, God. Okay. I'm going to wait for it to reconnect. I'm going to read it again, whatever. Obviously, all innocent civilians, including innocent children, should not be used as bargaining chips. Deputy spokesperson for UN Secretary General Farhan Haq told the Ukraine Forum when commenting on Russian proposals that his principle applies to conflicts worldwide. The UN has repeatedly stressed that deportation of children during conflict constitutes a violation of international humanitarian law. President Zelensky disclosed that Russians had proposed exchanging Ukrainian children for military prisoners. The Ukrainian leader characterized the occupiers' proposal as beyond understanding and beyond the bounds of international law, which is correct on all counts, honestly. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. The issue gained prominence during negotiations in Istanbul, where the Russian delegation acknowledged that Russia had abducted Ukrainian children, according to Zelensky's 2nd June statement. First Deputy Foreign Minister Andriy Kislitsia provided details on the negotiations on 5th of June, reporting that Russian delegation had Vladimir Medinsky cynically stated during talks that Russia has a couple of dozen, maybe 100 Ukrainian children. The same Putin associate confirmed receiving from Ukraine a list of 339 abducted children, Kislitsia said. Human Rights Commissioner Dmytro Lubinets reports that as of October 2024, Russian forces have abducted more than 20,000 children from Ukraine. And it's unaccompanied children, okay? I have to make this clear. I have to make this distinction here because no articles, no media reporting on this make this distinction. So it is up to me, I guess, to make it. Human Rights Commissioner Dmytro Lubinets reports that as of October 2024, Russian forces have abducted more than 20,000 children unaccompanied. An additional 1.5 million children could potentially be deported according to this data, because you have this distinction between accompanied children and unaccompanied children. And I assure you, while the amount of unaccompanied children that were kidnapped is within the ballpark of plus minus 20,000, the amount of accompanied children with family, etc., that have been moved into Russia far exceeds that number. So it's very important to point these things out. That's always a very short topic, but I feel like I had to express my